What up? What up? What up? Your boy Savage, aka Sav Cisneros. You tuning in to Sav Lokes Hotels 2.0. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Let's get to the politic. Big shout out to everybody showing the channel love. Appreciate the love and support. Thank you for the interactions. Before I start this video, let me make this clear. I am not promoting gang life, gang culture. I am just telling the testimony, giving life experiences, shining some light on the Denver Metro. So with that being said, let's get to this video. So I be watching, interviews with other cities, other states, right? And I like to see, how they conduct themselves in other cities and states, their neighborhoods. Some of the neighborhoods out there in other cities and states, they're a little more secure and they're family orientated. And it used to be like that out here in Denver, with the east side and north side, south side, west side. A lot of families grew up in them neighborhoods before they started moving everybody out, and everybody knew each other, especially in the east side. You knew everybody over there. Like, you could say a certain last name and everybody would know that last name. So in one of these episodes, they started talking about, I think it was California or something on the West Coast, but they started talking about, the time frame when their city was just super hot and a lot of people were dying, and like homie was, giving his testimony about how hard it was to grow up in that era, and I think they were talking about the 90s and stuff. So I started thinking about my life and a time frame out here. It just got hella hectic, and the neighborhood was just a war zone, and it was on fire. So everybody, when you read about Denver history, right, a lot of people bring up the summer of violence, and I've done videos on this because it was a big time frame that a lot of people died in that stretch. Now, people say 93, 94, 95, all that stretch was just, it was hella active because California had hit out here, and fools, and even before that there was gangs, but it seemed like that stretch was just a spirit of death. Like, fools were just dropping left and right. And if you know somebody, they probably know somebody that died or went to prison for the rest of their life in that era. So I wasn't old enough at that time to actually be in the streets, but the projects at that time was hella active. And on 26, 27 Arapahoe, it had a bad rep for being a place that you really just didn't want to go to because it was a lot of gang banging, a lot of fools over there, pushing weight, and just a lot of fools over there active. Like, I remember there was times that family didn't even allow us as kids to pretty much go out after 7 o'clock because the gangbangers would come out, and fools were tripping, walking outside, seeing fools fighting on the block and fools shooting up the block. I remember at family function, they'd be shooting, somebody would shoot up the neighbor's house and we would have to hit the floor, and it was just a crazy time. So I wasn't activated. I wasn't even old enough, but I remember that. And that's the only thing I remember about the summer of violence. You know what I'm saying? Is it was just a hectic time, and it was funny because pizza places wouldn't even deliver to the east side. So later down the road, early 2000s, this is when I was in the streets, and this was probably the most hectic time up to when I went to the penitentiary, where it was crazy, bro. They had already started boarding up the projects. They were moving people out the east side, and like relocating people out the east side. But at that time, you still had a lot of families that were over there, east side families, and there was still a lot of people in the east side that would be on the block, securing the block, presence of bangers all over. You go to certain blocks and it'd be tagged up with the Odies over here on this side of Bruce Randolph, and they would strike up that whole hood, and it would just be gang, like, fools striking up every freaking corner. And then on this side, you would catch, it'd be bombed up and fools whacking each other out and everything. So the projects were getting boarded up, and my mom was already in the west side. So I was, being from the neighborhood, I was still going to the east side. I would leave mom's house and still head back to the hood. If it wasn't on 26, 27 Arapahoe, I have family all throughout there, so I would still be in the hood. And then one of my homies, that's my right hand man at the time. He has a house, but the house is over on 30th and Gilpin. And at that time, 30th and Gilpin, bro, I could remember that at that time. The trays, all the tray hoods was over there, bro. Like, and people would be out all day, out at night. And it reminded me, to be honest, at that time, early 2000s, of, you remember the training day when that fools going to the Blood Hood? Little fools would be on bikes over there. And I remember a couple times, bro, seeing like little fools that gangbang over there patrolling the hoods. We were already banging, and the homie pretty much, he had family from over there. But I'm going to be real with you. Even being over there at that time, it was kind of like an atmosphere, bro, where you just always had to be on your toes. Even us being from the east side, but we're from the projects, like you going over there, you never know what was going on. And it was a lot of fools over there at that time that are no longer here. You know what I'm saying? This is Treyway was still alive, and you know what I'm saying? Like some of the hitters from the Treys, but they had a duplex, because where we lived on 30th of Gilpin was the white duplexes on that corner right there, like they're duplex apartments, and we lived on that corner. But that whole block, like it was all lokes, like they were out there deep, bro. Treys, Trey O's, and they had that area super contained. They were patrolling the hood, bro. And at night, it would get hella hectic over there. Like, fools was over there always. So, I remember getting a call. And I got blown up. And when I answered the phone, it was my relatives. Now, I have cousins that are Odies. And they started asking me, like, what you know about the stuff that happened over here on 37th and Wooty Woo. One of the homies got killed. And they're saying that it was the Crips. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, I haven't even heard that. But to really like go back in time, I remember being in the hood and a gang of cop cars sped through the hood, like before I get the phone call, like the 2 nights before I get the phone call, and everybody was like, I wonder what's going on. Well, somebody got chipped over there in I think Odiville on the other side of Bruce Randolph. And how the neighborhood at that time was split up. Bruce Randolph, it runs all the way to Colorado Boulevard. And on this side of Bruce Randolph, it's all Odies. A gang out here in Denver, all Odies. And they used to be hella deep over there. And then on this side of Bruce Randolph, it was more of the Crips going towards, Colfax, all the 30s, 30 Ave. But that Bruce Randolph, bro, it was a treacherous place, because you had some of the Trey 4s that were over there. They had houses by Bruce Randolph. So when it was kicked up, you could get caught slipping on Bruce Randolph, bro. And that's how close it was. Like, that street divided everything. One side was miniature Mexico. The other side was, all the Treys and all the Crips. That street right there was a deadly street, bro. It was a deadly street. So anyways, I get the call, and I don't even know what he's talking about. He's like, yeah, just be careful. You know what I'm saying? They're telling me to be careful because the Odies are tripping. One of their homies get chipped off. So we're over there on the block, 30th and Gilpin, and I remember it was in the daytime, and we're chilling in front of the duplex, and all of a sudden, some fool I don't even know, some crip fool, he walks up, and I'm listening, and he starts bragging about the work they put in on the Odies. So now it registered to me like this whole thing is wrapped around this. So he starts telling how they did it. Later down the road, he gets hemmed up, but it put it in perspective of what my cousins were talking about. So then, after that, weeks after that, bro, fools were hitting the block over there, and the Odies were tripping. It got to a point where every other night it felt like fools were going back and forth because like I said, it's only a 5-minute drive to Bruce Randolph, so there was get back and fools were tripping and fools were, you know what I'm saying, on each other's necks. Over there where we were living, it was so turned up that any random car that would come down the block, the fools on that block would be on, bro. It was a crazy atmosphere. And not only that, the fool Treyway, there's like somebody that shoots up something and he kind of disappears. So fools think that this fool got killed, but he eventually came back to the east side, and everybody was like, "Oh, this fool died." And in that same time frame, also, some fool from Homicide, relatives to the Homicide gangster fools from, I think they're Park Hill fools, but I know they mess with Bloods and they have some Crips and everything, Homicide gangsters. One of their little partners get killed. They blame it also on the East Side Crips. So both Odies and Bloods were sliding through the hood and they were tripping with the Crips. To a point, you could be walking down the block, homie, and fools were just getting off on each other. You know what I'm saying? There was a time, bro, at the Downey station in that time frame where they were over there because the Downey used to be a spot everybody kicked on the Downey station. One night, I think it was a Monty or a caddy hits the Downey station where that street is, and they let off a chop. They let off the chop and shot out the whole situation on the bus stop. And then somebody out, some fool out the house came out and started dumping out the car. So it was super turned up. And I swear, the early 2000s, bro, there was times when, you know, what we were going through also, I was like, man, these might be the years that, you know, one of us we end up getting chipped off because it was hella crazy over there, man. So the early 2000s, bro, they was, you know, you had to be real careful in that part of area, in the east side, because it was like just a mini war zone, bro, back and forth, all kinds of crazy stuff. While that died out, and then I went to the pen and I got back out, and the hood had changed up so much, but them two neighborhoods got into it again because they shot some fool from, I think, from Trey 4, and then shot up the funeral. And that was some OG's family from the Trey O fools. So you already know that domino affected a big mini. It was like a big mini war because, you know, it was just so fast, bro. It didn't last like super long, but I almost got killed behind the whole situation. And you really had like anybody that was in the east side at that time, because they started moving families, they were going over there to just put in work. So yeah, there's been a lot of history, man, with them two organizations. It's been wild, man. But yeah, that was a time, early 2000s. That was a time that it was wild, super wild, bro. I had actually in that time frame also too got robbed right by the cage, jacked. You know what I'm saying? It just reminded me of when I think about it, and I go back, bro. That part of the east side at that time, it just reminded me of that aspect of the jungles, bro. Fools patrolling everybody, gang banged out on the block, like, yeah, it was wild, homie. But my salute to the real ones. I'm gonna get at y'all.